So we've just been inside the art gallery at the palace, the old palace. I'm going to read it for you. It's the Jagan Mohan Palace Art Gallery, and it's really eclectic and bizarre. Really eclectic and bizarre. Really eclectic and bizarre and jumbled. And it has everything under the sun. And we're going to try and remember what that everything was. Noel, tell me something you saw.
I saw a white sculpture of some guy with a mustache.
That's right. There were sculptures of lots and lots of people, from Sir Walter Scott to the Duke of Wellington
To the European doctor.
There was a sculpture of a European doctor. That was some of what we saw. Posey, tell me something you saw. And we weren't allowed to take pictures or film in there, and there's no guidebooks. That's why we're doing this. No, Posey, what did you see?
I saw paintings that I really liked by a Russian artist called Nicholas Roerich, and they were mostly from the Himalayas, paintings, and I'd like to look those up. And that's all I want to note. Thank you. Goodbye.
We saw incredible sculptures on sandalwood, and boxes made out of sandalwood, and sculptures in sandalwood, right? And whole depictions of Krishna's life in sandalwood, right? Mm-hmm. But what else did they have? Lots of carvings made out of? Unfortunately.
Ivory.
Yeah. So sandalwood's okay because you can like grow another sandalwood tree, and it's not really like killing a tree necessarily if you take down the sandalwood to carve. But when you see a sculpture, a carving of an elephant in ivory, the word bitterly ironic. That's two words. We have two words. Bitterly ironic comes to mind. We saw. Oh, what about all those musical instruments on the top floor?
One of them was the sitar.
Yeah. And we saw a sitar and a lute and all these instruments that have strange names that I wrote down, that have 2 strings, 3 strings, 18 strings, and some of them were doubled up so that like if you stood up on one side of a rectangle you'd have one instrument and the other side you'd have another. And then there were paintings of all the Raj era, weren't there? Mm-hmm. Some classical Indian paintings. There were sculptures of elephants in marble, in stone, and in metal. Mm-hmm. There's a whole bunch of glassware, and then this is so funny. On our way out, all of a sudden there was a stuffed porcupine, and the porcupine had been shot by the secretary to the governor of Mysore in East Africa in 1950 or something.
1955.
No, in East Africa, it was like they brought back a porcupine. Could they? I mean, I was going to say, could they not do better? They probably did bring back an elephant as well. I hate to say. So there was all these like paintings, and they had paintings of like all the Indian Raj era, and they had older paintings depicting like a lot of Krishna's life and so on. There were. I'm trying to think because there were like so many.
Just go back a little bit. I'm taller than you.
What else did we see on the way out? On the way out, we. Yeah, there were lots of Indian paintings, or like the Temptation of Buddha, where he's surrounded by 3 beautiful women with their boobies showing, and he was looking very tempted. No, he wasn't. He was actually looking very aloof. And there were some historical paintings of legendary moments, but it looked like the boobies, there would be like a boobie in there just for effect. It's like, this is a moment from a great historical legend of the great, like this king who wanted to remarry and blah, 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 and there would just be a woman with showing a boobie just for effect. There's probably like everything else you could think of in there. Incense sticks, more water, with some really nice watercolors, really lovely watercolors, and oil paintings, and then more pictures of British people, and more sculptures of like people. We felt like they just took everything the British had left behind and went, let's stick it in the museum. Stuffed porcupines, European doctors, Sir Walter Scott, Himalayan paintings, and big ornate chairs. Don't forget all these like beautiful ornate chairs, and rosewood cabinets and sandalwood cabinets. Mm-hmm. Well, we would recommend that if you come to Mysore, The Lonely Planet
It's a lonely planet.
kind of says don't bother with this place, but considering we paid, what was it? We paid $4.50 for the three of us, and to be honest, we were entertained. It is like it's really bizarre. There's very little articulation. Like it's really bizarre. There's very little articulation. Like it's really bizarre. There's very little articulation of what's there. There's no guidebook, there's no audio guide, but it's actually really kind of fun. And yeah, there's where you get your ticket. There's my wife who's bored by all of this. There's the ticket price. It's much cheaper if you're Indian, by the way. That's the nature of some of these things. We had fun.